So make it just about past. Yeah, just gone. So let's start, and if other people join us, I'll just stop for a second to let them in. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking time out. It doesn't seem to have been any calm time this month, does there? No, there's no calm February at all. It all just seemed to be busy. Anyway, so in this session, because I'm going to go back to actually running the workshops live up until obviously probably October, maybe a bit after, I'm going to have to do them virtually live, like I've just done the masterclass. Hi, Stephen. But because I'm going to actually run them as proper full day workshops rather than chunking them down, these sessions now I'm going to use to just spotlight and show you things that maybe you've either missed along the way or you've forgotten about, because there's some really good stuff amongst that 2,500 things in System Builder that completely gets lost, but some of them can be very useful and very timely. So that's my goal today. I'm just going to focus on 4 different things to show you, but the important thing is to make sure that you ask the questions. That's the point, isn't it? Just for a second, my screen might go a bit funny because I'm just going to plug in my second screen so that I can put the chat box on a different screen. Hi, Catherine. You survived. You survived the masterclass. 2 full days in front of a screen. To be honest, that's what we're doing anyway, but it was just a bit of a challenge one. Right, I'm glad everyone's saying hello. Okay, so a couple of things I want to focus on today. So I'm going to be sharing my screen quite a bit. And like I said, please ask questions. Either unmute yourself and ask, or stick them in the chat box. It is over there, so you'll keep seeing me turning my head to have a look at it. But let's have a look at things. So the first thing I wanted to just remind everybody about, I just share my desktop. Is in System Builder, and it's actually the service request sheets. So in the document type down here, right near down the bottom, there are things called service request sheets, and these are basically your marketing literature for the different services that you offer. And those of you that are using Times Up, you can connect every service that you create in Times Up. You can have a document that supports it, so that anybody who is using the pricing software, or anybody who wants to ask you about a particular service that your business delivers, has a way of explaining it as far as benefits. So if I just pick up one now. Okay. So this is the 3-star service. So you remember in Times that we bundle it into 3, 4, 5s. So we're explaining what we will do, prepare the accounts, and deal with tax matters, but also we've put in a little extra bit hidden that we're going to put an on-track review, and that's built in just as part of it. But as part of what we talk about is we give people that understanding that the fee for whatever we've chosen to do for the service from the service information sheet, the 3-star service, it's fixed, but there is other things that might turn up. So anything that's outside of that, there will be an extra work order before doing anything. So that just sets some goals. And here are our guarantees, so whichever guarantees you agree. And then in this case, I've got in mind that I will also do a quality report on your accounts records, because we want to help you get the most out of your accounting system. So we'll prepare a report setting out any weaknesses, the consequences, and our suggestions on how to improve it. Because the better your accounting systems, the lower your accountancy fees. That's how we work. But also on this one, we're also explaining what they don't get. So when people are concerned about the fact that, they might not be choosing your best level, you can explain to them, look, this is the stuff you have chosen not to buy from us or not to have at the moment, but I just wanted to be aware of what there is. So here are all the different tax planning things that we can do, and health checks that we can do, and benchmarking and business potential. On this one, that's a document. So it's a good way of being able to explain what's included and what isn't, is I guess the key thing. But not only is it about compliance work, you've got things about all sorts of things. So explaining what a key improvement possibilities report is, okay, is a diagnostic review. It looks at your business and personal affairs. It identifies additional strategies that could raise a significant amount of money and help you. And we will give you recommendations that you'll be able to refer back to and take action on. So they can create a plan to continue to develop and improve their personal and business finances. So when you want your team to be talking about these things, almost the script for how to explain it is already there. So I just wanted to point out to you that I've got 66 of these, okay? So if you're using Time's Up, check that they are connected to Time's Up. If you're not, use them anyway, you know, because the whole point is that you can then create, you know, a marketing template for people. And I know it was a long time ago when I was in practice, but we used to have, and it's probably the same now, but we used to have a folder that had all of these printed out. So when we were going through Time's Up, if somebody said to me, I'm quite interested in that business builder review, but not now, I could actually give them that sheet. But in this case, you could email them that sheet or put it up in their portal and go, you expressed an interest in this. I know it's not now, but this is just to remind you what exactly it does. So that you've got, you know, you can remind people and bring them back to them. So first of all, when you've been doing your pricing, I'm hoping that you've thought about all the different services that you've offered. You've created your windows of opportunity chart, we've talked about that before, and had a list of everything that you could offer. And then for everything that you can offer, you need to have something like the service request sheet, something that explains what you're delivering, but in benefits. So how is it going to help them? And talk about the fact that when you're looking at pricing, you need to think about, is it going to save or earn them money? Is it going to save them time? Is it going to remove stress or some sort of emotional issue that they've got? So when you're writing these, again, go back and review these and make sure that you're putting it in your words, but that they're available, because they're a great tool for your team to learn about the services as well that you want to deliver. So that was the first thing I wanted to show you. So the second thing I wanted to show you was actually some resources that are in System Builder as a sort of an overview. And the first one, I've just downloaded it so I can show it you in main screen, obviously. So this one is called What's Your Challenge? So this is split into two sections: the challenges that you might have within your practice and challenges for your clients. So first of all, we need to think about what will lead to your sustainable success. So this is about time. So if you've got challenges with your time, you've already probably worked with your practice expert to think about how you deal with your clients, how you grade your clients, how you then plan that work, how you can systemize the most time-consuming tasks. And that's why we do the What I Actually Do diary, isn't it? To work out what it is that's interrupting us, and also what we could be handling with somebody else. There's also inside System Builder a BBF, which is a presentation about how to do the really important things. And so that's there. And obviously the clarity workbook helps you with that sort of stuff. So your practice growth expert will be focusing on that. And then of course you've got to get everybody pulling together. So if you're a multi-partner practice, you need everybody to be on the same page as to moving forward. So it might be good to benchmark yourself, look at the good, the bad and the ugly, review it with all partners, agree what are the key areas you want to do, and from that create a one-page plan. Okay, now the one-page plan is an advisory tool, an added value tool, but I have given your practice growth experts permission to put in a simple one into your coach accountability files that you can then start tracking your own numbers. The template for using it with your clients, like I said, is an advisory tool, but if you want to use it on yourself, that's fine, we can use this. So that's a really good way of thinking about making sure that you're tracking key important numbers in your business. Is that, you know, what gets measured gets managed, otherwise things get missed. So having looked at the good, the bad and the ugly, what key measures do you want to change, and then how are you going to manage that? For some of you that have got a larger team that you're not communicating regularly with, or you just want to, like, I think at the moment with remote access, that's a challenge as well, keeping an eye on people. The Team Matters software might be a great tool for you. Again, if you've not looked at that, or you're concerned about that, just put a note in the chat box, and what I'll do is, if there's enough of you, I'll do a full team training session. If not, I'll just do a one-off one. Somebody's put what? All right. What search did I run to get them? Oh, I just went into the knowledge base. Sorry for the service request sheets, Libby. Sorry. I just went in, and on the document type down on the left-hand side, I just put service requests, and that's how they should come up. Sorry. Right, so back to this. So we want to make sure, first of all, that you are getting your team engaged. So first of all, you're getting your partners engaged because they understand the numbers, they understand the key drivers. Then we want to get the team engaged. The Team Matters software allows you to randomly find out how they're doing, how they're feeling, but more importantly, how stretched they are in the work, and how much we can grow them in other ways. So that it might be that they are feeling that most of the work they're doing is boring. Well, let's find something that we can give them as a challenge. It might be actually that they can't do their time management. They've got too much on. So can we help them with their time planning? Things like that. And obviously give them access to System Builder, because then they can get on with it. So it's really important to move that through that. Okay. And make sure your team attend all the training. They're available to come to any of our training. The only one I wouldn't bring them to is positioning, to be honest, because positioning is all about you as the business owner setting, defining the business and how you want it seen, and designing your values, and they're yours. It's about running your business. So that's the only one really where your team wouldn't get a say in what was happening and wouldn't really learn an awful lot from it. But everything else your team can come to. And then when we get to the gearing roadmap with you, then that's the whole point of that, is engaging the team, but not only engaging them with what you want, how the business wants to work, but also engaging them with the clients, and how to really look for those extra things that they can do, those little things that they can do that can make the relationship better, that spot the opportunities for you. But sometimes, one of the things we need to do is actually generate some leads. So just again, wanted to pick out some things. Okay. There is, in the accounts finalization system in System Builder, a section about delivering on the promise and the sort of extra things you could offer. So that might be something. If you're an advisory member, you might want to think about perhaps using the performance measurement improvement system to generate additional leads. And some of you might not have heard of that yet, because you might have not done masterclass yet, but that's key. But then there are also lots of really good ways of generating leads, and Shane's very passionate about you using what he calls golden carrots to try and get people to know, like, and trust you better. So it could be that you distribute your own version of this book. This is the book that's called How to Build a Better Business and Make More Money. This is the AVN version, but you can customize that and be a co-author for that. So that's a great thing to add a book. You can enter into the UK's, not copy that one. Find it. We do a book, which is the UK's best accountancy practices, that we show to prospects at events and hand out. So that's a good way of giving you lead generation. One of the documents that I think you did need to look at, and those of you who were at masterclass the weekend, I talked about it, but it's really useful, is to look at the lifetime financial responsibility. Again, it's in System Builder. There's a lovely little brochure that's you can download to make it look pretty, but it's actually just about making them think about them, and also to think about the messages that you've created as part of the positioning roadmap. So how do you want to go out there and market? How do you want to target your marketing? And if you've not got that sorted yet, talk to your practice growth expert about how we can work on it, because there's a whole suite of marketing resources. It's about making sure it's focused. And then perhaps the challenge is actually closing the sale. You're really good at getting to in front of prospects, but you can't close the sale. So this is, again, it's just an idea of showing them the value that you could add. Perhaps have an example of the key improvement possibilities report from On Track, or maybe an example of the one-page performance improvement plan from Benchmark. So you can show them that there are other things But here's just a very basic script. Okay, so about that, and making sure that, again, you show them that you can deliver on the promise. If your challenge is pricing more profitably, then obviously you can use Times Up, but if you're not using Times Up, that's fine. We have lots of ways of helping you think about how you price, and particularly how you value price, and make sure that you're not allowing that scope creep. So again, ask us for help on that, okay? But it might be that actually where you want to go is starting to deliver that business growth advisory work, okay? So most of these things that I'm showing you here are for the advisory level. The one that you have as right at the beginning as a practice builder or foundation member is Simple Stuff That Works, which is a great tool that you can open their eyes with. Okay, so you could use benchmark to open their eyes about the opportunity, and then Simple Stuff That Works to break down those key things. So have a look at this resource. There are lots of things you can have a look at, and then obviously offering through business consultancy with funds there. So there's lots of different things in here. Make sure. Also, just have a look. We have a YouTube channel, AVN Inspiring Accountants. If you haven't registered on that, please do, because every time we run training sessions, we upload them onto YouTube. And if you're on the list, then obviously you'll get an acknowledgement about that, so that you can see that there are extra things and there's extra learning. The other resource I wanted to point you to was Key AVN Resources. So this is another one which is a sort of a summary of things that you can do for your client. Okay. So the key thing we obviously want to help most clients, or most our clients want help with, is improving their profits, improving their cash flow, improving their business and its performance, improving their work-life balance, improving their tax bills, and improving their personal income and wealth. It's important to think about all those different things. So there are some really core resources in System Builder at the moment that could be really useful. For helping your clients through the hard times, I think there's a lot of people who hopefully will coming back into opening their businesses in the next few weeks, may need some extra support. I think for them, cash flow is going to be a big issue for quite a long time. A lot of them are going to have to go and buy stock, are going to have to get things going, and getting paid is a big challenge. So helping them plan for that, helping them plan their cash flow, perhaps helping them to think differently about how they get paid. It was really interesting. Again, this webinar, well, it was a meeting that I was on yesterday. There were a couple of business owners on there who felt that they could only get paid once they'd done work. So one of them's a graphic designer, one of them is a photographer. So they were both saying, well, do you know what, people give us an idea of what they want, and then we have to go and do the shoot, or we have to go and create all the stuff, and then we'll invoice afterwards when they're happy with what we've done. And we were talking about the fact that that means that they have no consistent income. It's really as and when, and that can be quite scary. So we were talking about how could they change the people's perception of that value. So like the photographer was saying that he gets very frustrated that he might go and do a photo shoot. He might come up with 200 great photos that would be absolutely perfect to use in people's marketing process through social media, or through whatever else they use, not just for maybe the brochure that they thought they were getting the photographs for. So perhaps if he could create like a monthly trigger to get them to pick he could pick out one photo from that shoot and say, have you thought of using this in your marketing this time? Or if you could come up with some ideas of how they could use it better, then, and maybe what you could do is build in a monthly retainer in order to say, okay, there might be other shots that you want along the way that are just sort of very quick ones. There are ways of doing it. So we talked a lot about that. And I think with some businesses, we need to make them think outside the box. In particular, what worried me was in those two cases, they were still really focused on how many hours it would take them to do the job. So when they quoted, they'd sit there and think, oh, that's going to take me about 7 hours to do that, and 4 hours to do that, and 3 hours to do that. Here's the fee. And again, I was trying to explain to them exactly what we talk about, which is value pricing. If they've got those great shots, those great photographs, what difference is it going to make to the positioning of that business? What difference is it going to make to attraction of their ideal client? What difference could it make to their turnover? Somebody had actually put that he could improve somebody's turnover by 32% And that was his headline. Would you like help improving your turnover by 32%? And then when you drill down, it was a brochure. He was just being photographed and creating a brochure. So if you can connect people to value as opposed to their fees, that's what we need to do. So for a lot of our clients, we probably need to work about thinking differently, and perhaps giving them ideas about how they can plan the money for them as well. So there's lots of stuff here. Core resources, you know all about these, okay. And then pricing again. So get them to look at the very first section of Simple Stuff That Works. It's all about pricing. Get them to think about how they could do that, you know, and yes, that maybe that fact that investing, say, £3,000 to do the whole lot would be quite a big chance for them. But I know people who have taken, you know, the bounce back loans in order to build a website, in order to do other marketing. So you can actually guarantee that from all this stuff, they will actually improve their numbers. You can show them that. So it's important that, you know, you can guarantee it, or you can just say, well, let's do the first one. The first one will be £500. If you get value from that, you know, if we can prove to you that you can earn more than £500 by doing some of these things, are you ready for signing up for the others? So it's important that we think about that. And then obviously them getting paid, thinking about payment terms. And I've noticed more and more these adverts for these little, I can't remember what it's called, just like a little box, isn't it, where people can now take card payments without having to faff around with loads of other stuff. Helping people do that. I was watching Country File. This is how I watch. I was watching Country File, and there were farmers there again who normally had sold their produce out at markets that are not being opened, and when they do open, they'll be interesting how that works. But instead of almost creating their own little stand somewhere that's most cars pass by, and it is a bit of an honesty box thing. But actually, by doing that, by looking at that and actually allowing people to pay by card and other ways, they've been able to sell quite a lot of goods. So it's been quite surprising. So lots of here, there's an insider report about getting paid, different ways of getting money. And then I think this is the perfect time to be sending out the taxability checklist. So for those that don't know what that is, that's a questionnaire that you can send, you definitely send out probably at least a month before the year end. So for the financial year end, 5th of April, so probably now, that goes out and asks them a series of questions that they can just go through, and you can say, look, I'm giving it you now, we've put it in their portal, and you go, I'm going to check because I need it answering in the next 48 hours, whatever, because it might be that that could trigger some tax planning opportunities that could save you money. And then here are the personal wealth ones. So we could do the personal balance sheet. Again, it's in System Builder, which allows them to work out their net worth. We could help them with their lifetime responsibility, financial responsibility. We could help them get some really great independent financial advice. So there's lots of things in here. It's worth you looking at when you think about, okay, how can I help my client today? This might be a good starting point, is all I'm saying. And with this and the service request sheets that I mentioned earlier, they're all in System Builder. Okay, so make sure that you use System Builder, but you don't get overwhelmed with it. Just try and look at these particular resources. On a completely different note, I wanted to point out this action resource. This is a resource that is called Recruiting for the Future. And I think during the last 12 months, we've become very aware of our good team members and our not so good team members. And we've probably also started, I hope, to plan for the future of your business, what you want your business to look like. I know you've been focusing on your clients, and then that came out at the masterclass the weekend, people saying we always put our clients before ourselves. And to be honest, yeah, that is, I hear that all the time, and it's a natural thing for us as accountants and the profile that we have to be caring and want to, you know, help others in that way. But we need to be thinking about our future. And because of the changes in technology, because of the way things are going, we are probably needing to recruit a different type of person as we grow our business moving forward. And so this was a brainstorm that I did with a group of AVN members. They came to our offices, and this was something that they asked us to create, and we built it with them. And so it's probably having a look at, just thinking about who are you really looking for, you know, how are you positioning your business, and Jane is very passionate about the fact that often what happens is, as the business owner, you will get out of the compliance work and you will start doing the business advisory work, which is fantastic and it's lots of fun. But basically, you are just having another job within the firm. You have to have an opportunity to be able to step out of that box and run your business, or have time out, or have choice. But if you're the only one that can deliver business growth advice, then you've got a job again. You can't just go away if you've got meetings booked every month with clients. So thinking about, again, where do you want your business to be in 12 months time, 24 months time? I'm not saying 10 years time, it's too far for me. That you need to be thinking about in the next 24 months max of what you want, because we need to start training these people, because they won't come fully formed. They won't come fully understanding everything that you want to talk about, but actually they need to have a certain attitude and behavior. It might be that, and this has been an interesting thing, to look at the roles that are in your organization chart. Again, use System Builder to help you that. There's an organization chart in there. Are there roles now that actually are obsolete, or roles that you now need to create? So it might be that you need to create somebody who can manage your social media, if that's the way that you want to be attracting new clients, because you haven't got time for that. You know, you've got enough things to be doing. You don't want to be doing all that. So who can you help you with that? I often talk to people about the fact that we often don't take advantage of the skills that our team have, and actually having some discussions about the team, more about what they do outside of work as opposed to in, because often they have so many skills that they are using that can make such a difference. So one of the members that I work with, she ended up hiring a nanny to be her office manager. Now, you'd think that's probably not got a lot in common, but actually her organization skills for running a house with 3 children, you know, and sorting out school and homework and entertainment and all the rest of her management skills are phenomenal. Her organization skills are phenomenal. Her communication skills are outstanding, you know. So actually, maybe that you think about, what do I need from that person? And maybe are the skills in our team that can do that? So there's a lot of people that before that lockdown were perhaps football coaches, or with brownies or guides, or maybe just to do some stuff that's actually charitable work, but actually has a meaning to them that you could connect them with. So let's work out what skills we can do. Some people are great on the phone, aren't they? Some people aren't. Some people are great on social media. You know, they might not do social media for you, but in the evenings they might be doing it all the time. Well, if they're doing it in line with the way you want it done, they could be somebody that you could use. And so having a clear job description, but also understanding what the career development path is for that person. Because for some of these roles, they will want to know that there's a path. Where do they want to go? And clearly defining, you know, what's essential about this role and what's desirable. It worries me that sometimes what happens is we start interviewing and we like somebody and we'll go, well, we'll just make it work. And that's fine in a way, because that's got skills, but you still need that essential skill set. And if you don't have that essential skill set, you're going to have to go and recruit somebody else to find it. So you have to be a bit strict with yourself. If you believe that somebody has got a skill set that you could incorporate into your business at a future point, that's fine. Grow the role for them. When I first joined Mark Wickisham's practice, he had no clients for me. He had no role for me. It freaked me out, having come from a firm where I had 100 clients that I was dealing with all the time. But the role grew around my skill set, because he knew at the time computerization wasn't as big as it is now, but I was really up on all of that. So I could help people with computerization and skills and automation and developing systems. And so we built the role, and eventually I grew the client base around that. So you can do that, but when you're thinking about what you want your future for, you need to know what is essential, what do I need this person to definitely have. So in the group, we just brainstormed some things that might be essential. You know, they might be the essential thing is they have to be great on Zoom. So you might interview them on Zoom and see how do they come across. Is their background as chaotic as mine? Or actually have they planned it? You know, are they doing it in a coffee shop with all the noise? You know, it could be that for a role that you want, you might need to have some language skills or whatever. And then who are you going to use to help find that person? And this, I think, is quite key that this group came up with, is who is going to manage the recruitment. Again, it often happens that the partner takes on a lot of that stress, and there's no need to. If you've defined the person, if you've helped write the job, then somebody else can manage the process for you. I know that one of the members that I work with, she's recruited somebody and it's absolutely fantastic. If you just give her that definition, they put the job out on social media, and of course there could be 100 of applications, and she gets that lady to review those applications and mark them against the criteria first and foremost, and then that narrows it down, and then she gets that lady to speak to them on Zoom and get a feel of how they are, and that narrows them down a bit, and then she finally interviews them. So weed out the rubbish is what it says before they get to you, because people do that. Again, this meeting with business owners yesterday is really, really funny. One of them, he owns Utility Warehouse, and he's looking for salespeople to help him. And he was saying, so he put a job out there, and all these people had read was the word warehouse. So he got people coming saying, I've got skills in forklift truck driving, and he's going, yeah, that's not really, you didn't really read the application, did you? So, get people to weed out some of that stuff. It's really important. And then who has the final say? Again, critical. We have a very detailed recruitment process, as you probably know, and that's consistent for you to see hours. There's a standard one and then there's hours. But at the end of the day, who has the final say about who's employed? And if you're a multi-partner group, you need to say, right, at what point are we going, is this that everybody has to say yes to this person? Or is that 3 out of 5 of us has to say yes? To me, everybody has to say yes, but that's just the way it works. So here's the different recruitment methods, ways of attracting people. People are looking for different things now, aren't they? Flexibility. Make sure that you're allowing for that. And then we asked some staff members what they thought were the skills that we'd need for the future. So obviously technically savvy, self-disciplined, able to work remotely alone, so you can trust them, inspired by the why of the business. They're wanting to look for people who have initiative and almost want to become partners of the future, have some drive in them. Because again, that's some of the things that we need to think about, is who do we want to take over some of the main roles of the business for you to free up your time, and how can you make it more beneficial for them to stay with you than to leave or start their own business. That they're adaptable, that they think about the customers, and then they put a dream team member would also be prepared to challenge, because that's somebody as well who's so passionate about the business and the clients that they'll challenge the owner and say, are you sure about this? Have a clear vision of values, are loyal, self-motivated, willing to step up, will help others, are passionate about being a force for good. Some of them said interested in other people. They want to change lives. They're positive, enthusiastic, and they go the extra mile. So again, in this resource, have a look at all the different systems that back it up, okay? And ask your practice growth expert. Now, I know maybe some of you may not be hiring as such, but you can use exactly the same thought process if you're outsourcing. Who do you want to use that to? Who do you want to, to do that? What strengths, what visions? Because, ultimately what they're producing at whatever level, it is a reflection of you and your business to the client. So being able to show that is quite important. And finally, are there any questions on that? Sorry, has anybody put any questions in? Sorry, I'm just looking over to the questions section. I mean, it's also, there's a great resource as well about just actually checking, do you think people are right for your business? And Shane tells a story in Masterclass, about the year he decided he would sit down and write everybody a Christmas card that thanked them for what they brought to the business. And for most people, he was able to write a lovely paragraph. I've still got mine here, and say something lovely. But there are a couple of people where he couldn't think of anything to say, and if he can't think of anything to say, then maybe they're not people, I guess the answer. And then finally, I just wanted to bring to your attention AVNExcellence. Okay. Michael Pipe says that this was the way that he actually got his business systemized and structured, was that he decided that the criteria that is in AVN Excellence was a perfect plan for his business. And that's what he focused on when he was looking at it. And so what we have designed is almost a self-assessment document. So you can download this again from System Builder. Okay. And for every criteria, there is a what and a why. Now it's really important. The why is as important as the what, you know, if maybe not more. Okay. It also tells you what roadmap we actually cover this stuff in. So, you know, that can be quite useful for you. And also what level of excellence, because we do 4, 5, and 6, 6 being our highest, obviously. But the important thing really with some of this is that if you and a couple of members of your team went through this, they can then put in, do they think yes, no, or we need work on that? I think Michael said he used like a red, amber, green. So green, we've done it. Amber, we're in the middle of working on it. Red, we haven't even started it. And that way, what you can do is actually work out whether or not, you know, what needs focusing on. Now, once you've done that, on the overview sheet, it calculates how many, it will calculate what you need in order to get the 4-star excellence. So in this case, I'm going to view. So I have 3 of the 4-star criteria, and I have 1 out of the 5 optional extras. So you only need minimal. So you can help move towards that. And again, getting the team engaged with this, which is what Michael did, is critical. Now, a lot of these, when you start looking through them, you'll realize we're already talking to you about them. You're already, that all clients are graded on a scale of A to D, where A is the best. Okay. So most of you could probably start ticking that off. And if you don't understand them, sorry, that's a new one that I've just entered that will be on the system soon. It's about values. Then if you don't understand them, call. At the masterclass this weekend, Michael just said, badger the hell out of them. Ask them anything you want, ring them constantly. And that's what he did as well. You know, he would ring me up and say, okay, what does this mean? Tell me what this means. And we would have a conversation about the why. And sometimes, therefore, some of these things can be slightly changed. I mean, there was this one here. The leadership team meet at least once a year with a peer group where they learn by sharing insights and experiences with other senior practitioners. Well, it doesn't mean you have to create a specific event. You might all go and meet up with lots of other senior practitioners at a training event, at a CPD event, at a Countex. If you're in a group where you can discuss stuff and learn from it, because this is about learning from the best and identifying what works. So, you know, sometimes there are ways that you can deliver it quite simply. And in System Builder as well, there is a document that explains how you can do it if you want to, the sort of things that you can deliver. So I'd also, I mean, I know there's quite a lot in here, but every time we do a workbook, at the end of the workbook, there is a list of the AVN Excellence criteria we should be able to tick off once we've completed that workbook. And so the practice growth experts will be checking in with you and going, okay, is there anything that we've missed? And sometimes things might take a little while for a tick off. You might go, okay, well, there's 3 things left in clarity, but I'm going on to positioning. I'll carry on with positioning. At the end of position, you might go back and go, actually, I can finish those clarity things now because I understand some of the key stuff that's important to me now. But I think if you can, that's one of those great tools, because often you find you're better than you think you are for these things. And to get AVN Excellence accredited, you can obviously look at it and do it yourself, do self-assessment, but to actually get accredited, we use external auditors to come in and accredit you. But then obviously you can then use that an awful lot in your positioning, in your marketing, because, and they also, if you're an AVN Excellence member, you go to the very front of our book of the UK's best accounting practices, so that, you know, we highlight you the most. But having said that, even if you just use it to make sure that your business structure is working properly, and that, you know, you're on top of everything, that would be great. So I've pointed you, so I just so I've pointed you to lots of different things today, and that was really my idea. The first thing was to make sure that your marketing literature that shows the benefits of your services is all done, and the easiest way to write that all up is by using the service requests and just editing them. and tweaking them, but remembering to put in some extra ones in there. Okay, if there are things that you specialize in, put something in there. The 2 documents here, what's your challenge and key resources, are there for you almost use as go-to resources. It might be worth you even having them printed out on the wall, though, so you can just look at it and go, okay, yeah, Emma said go that one. Okay, just have some ideas of where you can go. And then thinking about your team moving forward. I think for most of us, even once we can all be back in the office, it's going to be a mixture, I think, of what's been going on, isn't it? I think we have different things that we look at. So I think, you know, making sure your team's right is quite critical. And then finally, your self-assessment of AVN Excellence. Find out where you are. You know, it's like clarity. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? Where do we need to? What do we need to focus on? Okay, move that forward. Thank you, Simon. Yes, I like my home screen. It reminds me, because sometimes you do think that you're not as good as you are. Right, now, so has anybody got any questions? Or shall we finish early today? Okay, Michael, can you turn your mic off? Hi, Michael.
Hi, Emma. How you doing? Yeah, loads of things there. Is there a brochure like at a high level on the system builder, which would show you know, all these great advisory tools that we can offer to the client with the AVN resources? So like a list of just a simple list of the tools, like simple stuff that works, AVN taxability, you know, AVN personal balance sheet, and a brief, like a list of them, a brief description, and a benefit to the client. And like we could show to the client, like, this is what we can do, and what would you be interested in? Like I know there's individual things that explain each of them in detail, but is there anything at a very high level that we can email to a client, like a brochure, and say, all right, this is what we can do?
There are brochures. So inside System Builder, there is a brochure for business advisory and for cloud accounting. So you can, and they have those different things explained in them.
Very good.
We have also a resource. It works slightly differently from what you've asked for, because what it does is it actually asks the client what their pain is first.
Yes.
So the first column is what's the pain, and then the second column is here's our solution. And then the solution tells you, then there's an extra bit column that's for you that says, right, this is the tool you use.
Okay.
So if you want to have a look at that, if you just type in pain in the knowledge base, you'll see it. And there's a basic one for clients, and then there's an extra one that has how do you deliver on all of these things. So it comes from, so rather than talking about features of things, we're actually coming from their discussion. So what is your issue?
What is your
but
pain?
If you want to, I can create that sort of document for you if that would be helpful.
I think like it's an overall like a menu, an overall menu.
Okay.
I think it would be beneficial. No, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate
it. I will do that.
Emma.
Thank you,
Emma, it's Libby here. I think we spoke about it as well. I tried to put together, you know how we got the 3, 4, and 5 star for personal tax returns, and then for the business things. I've now put together one document that has kind of everything detailed, and then the last page is a tick box which has this is the difference between the 3 service levels. Yeah. And I'm finding that quite helpful. So I'm happy to ping that back to you, because it's basically a sum of your stuff anyway.
That would be brilliant. So if you could share that with me, Libby, then I can share it out to Michael and anybody else that wants it.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else got any questions or anything they want to ask the group while we're here? Okay, so quite a few of you would like Libby's. Perhaps, Libby, if it's all right, could I put it in System Builder with a reference to you?
You can. You might want to undo a couple of bits where I've changed some of the details and things, but I can flag that with you. I mean, it literally is just the sum of the separate documents and then the table, but yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I have a question which is unrelated to resources, but something ahead of my 2 o'clock quote meeting.
Okay.
I've got it's a limited company. It's a restaurant, and I'm just intrigued because obviously I put it into Times Up, but in my mind there's a difference between the accounts that he needs doing for the year that ended 2020 and the accounts he needs doing for this year where we can be proactive and doing stuff. As I go through Times Up, how do I reflect that 1 year is kind of closed and we can't influence it versus the year we're in? Does that make sense?
Are you quoting for 2 years?
Yeah.
So I would do 2 separate quotes.
Yeah.
And obviously the first one, your turnover is going to be quite low, isn't it?
Oh no, it's already established and everything, so it's already up and running. So in essence, the numbers would be the same.
So on your year just gone, you could only really do 3-star service, couldn't you? Because you can't be giving them anything extra.
Yeah.
But then say if the year moves forward, actually what we want to do is do the business growth work, the business advisory work. So let me talk about the 5-star service and start at the top again with them.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Who else? Simon, you're on mute. Are you talking?
Sorry, I thought I'd unmuted myself. Yeah, start with the 5-star service for the year coming and then go back and do the 3-star service just as a almost forgotten thing. And also there's last year's bookkeeping and for this year's bookkeeping option when you do bookkeeping in Times Up, to use different ones for that.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I'm kind of happy they had a VAT inspection middle of last year, so he's like, I know I'm on my VAT. I know I'm good with that. So you know when you think, brilliant, that's a nice place to be in.
Yeah. All right, so have you all got an action from today? Something that you're going to look at? Yeah? Okay, it's important that you go in and do something with this. Okay, so there won't be one of these next week because I'm in the middle of running masterclass, as are most of the other practice growth experts. So we won't have one of these sessions next week. We'll be back the following Tuesday. But if you need anything, any help at all, you know, to just email me or the team or pick up the phone, and we'll do everything we can. Okay. Thank you so much for your time today, guys. Have a lovely day. You take